Donald Christopher Barber, born the 17th of April 1930, is an English jazz musician, best known as a bandleader and trombonist, as well as scoring a UK Top 20 trad jazz hit. He helped the careers of many musicians, notably the blues singer Ottilie Patterson, who was at one time his wife, and vocalist, banjoist Lonnie Donegan, whose appearances with Barber triggered the skiffle craze of the mid-1950s and who had his first transatlantic hit, Rock Island Line, while with Chris Barber's band, his providing an audience for Donegan and, later, Alexis Korner makes Barber a significant figure in the British rhythm and blues and beat boom of the 1960s. Biography. Early life. Barber was born in Welwyn Garden City, Hertfordshire, the son of a statistician father and headmistress mother. He was educated at Hanley Castle Grammar School, Malvern, Worcestershire, to the age of 15. Then St Paul's School in London and the Guildhall School of Music. Music career. 1950s and 1960s. Barber and Monty Sunshine, clarinet, formed a band in 1953, calling it Ken Collier's Jazzmen to capitalize on their trumpeter's recent escapades in New Orleans. The group also included Donegan, Jim Bray, bass, Ron Bowden, drums, and Barber on trombone. The band played Dixieland jazz, and later ragtime, swing, blues and R&B. Pat Halcox took over on trumpet in 1954 when Collier moved on after musical differences and the band became the Chris Barber Band. In April 1953 the band made its debut in Copenhagen, Denmark. There Chris Albertson recorded several sides for the new Danish Storyville label, including some featuring only Sunshine, Donegan and Barber on double bass. In 1959 the band's version of Sidney Bechet's Petite Fleur, a clarinet solo by Monty Sunshine with Barber on string bass, spent 24 weeks in the UK singles charts, making it to No. 3 and selling over 1 million copies, and was awarded a gold disc. After 1959 he toured the United States many times, where Petite Fleur charted at number 5. In the late 1950s and early 1960s Barber was mainly responsible for arranging the first UK tours of blues artists Big Bill Broonzy, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGhee and Muddy Waters. This, with the encouragement of local enthusiasts such as Alexis Korner and John Mayall, sparked young musicians such as Peter Green, Eric Clapton and the Rolling Stones. British rhythm and blues powered the British invasion of the USA charts in the 1960s. Yet Dixieland itself remained popular. In January 1963 the British music magazine NME reported the biggest trad jazz event in Britain at Alexandra Palace. It included George Melly, Diz Disley, Acker Bilk, Alex Welsh, Kenny Ball, Ken Collier, Sunshine, Bob Wallace, Bruce Turner, Mick Mulligan and Barber. Barber stunned traditionalists in 1964 by introducing blues guitarist John Slaughter into the line-up who, apart from a break between April 1978 and August 1986, when Roger Hill took over the spot, played in the band until shortly before his death in 2010. Barber next added a second clarinet, saxophone and this lineup continued until 1999. Then Barber added fellow trombonist, arranger Bob Hunt and another clarinet and trumpet. This 11-man, Big Chris Barber Band, offered a broader range of music while reserving a spot in the program for the traditional 6-man New Orleans lineup. A recording of the Lennon-McCartney composition, Cat's Walk, can be heard, retitled Cat Call, on the songs Lennon and McCartney Gave Away. Written by Paul McCartney, the song was recorded in late July 1967 and released as a single in the UK on 20 October 1967. Recent work. The 2017 lineup is Chris Barber and Bob Hunt. Trombones, Mike Henry and Pete Rude. Fifth. Trumpets, Bert Bransma, Nick White and Ian Killoran. Clarinets and alto sax. Tenor sax, baritone sax, John Watson. Drums, John Day. Double bass, Joe Fowler. Banjo and guitar, Pat Halcox. Trumpeter with the Chris Barber Band since 31 May 1954. Retired after playing his last gig with the Big Chris Barber Band on 16 July 2008. Halcox and Barber were together in the band for 54 years, the longest continuous partnership in the history of jazz, exceeding even that of Duke Ellington and Harry Carney. 48 years between 1926 and 1974. Tony Carter, Reeds, also left the band at this time. Vic Pitt, double bass, retired in January 2007 after 30 years with the band. His feature duet with the drummers of the day, Big Noise from Winnetka, was not only a feature of the Barber concerts, but also his time with the Kenny Ball Band immediately before. When Amy Roberts joined the band in 2011, she was still a student at Royal Northern College of Music and thus not always able to be present on several tours. Bert Bransma, Reeds, replaced her. Bransma joined as a permanent member in 2012 at St. Luke's, London. On 9 June 2007, Barber appeared in the horn section of Nick Lowe's band during a concert. In 2008, Barber, along with Eric Clapton and others, were involved in a new cooperative record company, Blues Legacy. On 23 July 2009, Barber, Bilk and Ball played a one-off concert at Indigo 2 at the O2 in Greenwich. The concert was presented by the British Music Experience. He performed it at Dolan in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, on 12 December 2010. Select discography. New Orleans Joy's Chris Barber Jazz Band. With Lonnie Donegan Skiffle Group 1954. Bestsellers. Chris Barber and Papa Boo's Viking Jazz Band. 1954. Original Copenhagen Concert. Live. 1954. Chris Barber in Concert. Live. 1956. Chris Barber Plays. Volume 1. 1955. Chris Barber Plays. Volume 2. 1956. Chris Barber Plays. Volume 3. 1957. Chris Barber Plays. Volume 4. 1957. Chris Barber in Concert. Volume 2. Live. 1958. Petite Fleur. 1958. Chris Barber American Jazz Band. 1960. In Budapest. 1962. Louis Jordan Sings. 1962. Live in East Berlin. 1968. Chris Barber and Lonnie Donegan. 1973. Golden Hour of Chris Barber and his Jazz Band featuring vocals by Ottilie Patterson and clarinet by Monty Sunshine. 1974. Echoes of Ellington. Volume 1. 1976. Echoes of Ellington. Volume 2. 1976. Echoes of Ellington. 1978. Take Me Back to New Orleans. 1980. Concert for the BBC. 1982. Copulaton Jazz. The Music of Preservation Hall. 1993. Live at the BP Studying House. 1997. Cornbread, Peas and Black Molasses. Live. 1999. The Big Chris Barber Band with special guest Andy Fairweather Low. As We Like It. 2009. Chris Barber's Jazz Band. Chris Barber 1957-58. 2009. The Chris Barber Jazz and Blues Band. Barbican Blues. 2009. The Big Chris Barber Band. Barber at Blenheim. 2009. Chris Barber's jazz band with Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. Sonny, Brownie and Chris. 2009. Chris Barber Memories of My Trip. 2011. Official website. Chris Barber Facebook. Chris Barber MySpace. Chris Barber Twitter. Chris Barber's channel on YouTube. Chris Barber at AllMusic.